The simulation is failing. The drugs don't work anymore. The screens are bleeding out. Colors I've never seen before. And I can't say what I'm thinking without a parasite crawling in my open mouth, baring its teeth and taking a bite. The simulation is failing. I can't tell from now.
Just thinking about, I don't know, going with the flow. Not saying no, saying yay. I was thinking about stop motion. It's interesting. When you're doing stop motion, you're going with the flow. That's a lot of what you're doing. It's sort of like micro improvisation. You're sort of shooting for certain story points, certain poses. Let's say you've done a pop through, and you kind of know your timings and your general blocking of a scene. You're still taking liberties in the moment because you need to figure out what the spacing of each increment is, and what's working, what's punching, what's how you're organizing within those brackets, those timing brackets, allowing things to read, making physics feel, heightening the sense of anticipation, or some hang time, or some elasticity. What can you get away with? What's too much? And but it's in the flow state, sort of like a dream, washes over you, and you get lost in the now, the ever-present now. People say, time is this incremental thing marching forward. Well, we place all of these markers on something that actually is unending. If you think about time and memory, and you think about experience, it's really just one moment, and the moment is now. And so we're in the now, but we're committing each present moment to some rigorous timeline to create this synthesized reality. And the imposition of time is sort of a synthetic version of reality, which is this flow state that I'm trying to figure out what that is. And it's almost like micro choices, like the choice to let go. That's a big one. I got really close to my next door neighbor, this guy named Norman, and I watched him in his very last chapter of life. And I believe that he made the choice to leave his body. I felt like he made the choice to die. And And he was going to hold on for as long as he needed to until he was ready. But that choice to let go, that choice to release, that choice to let go of fear, that choice to face the present moment. Not live in a state of regret or a state of guilt or a state of obligation or a snag. Like there's all these sort of nets that snag your consciousness in some sort of obligation to time. But time is, like I said, an imposition on really just this never-ending moment. And who's to say what happens after we shed the body? I'm writing about this right now. I'm writing about the afterlife. And I'm haunted by that moment in Star Wars when Obi-Wan says, "Strike me down and I will become more powerful than you can ever imagine." I think that's what he says. And Vader strikes him down, but Obi-Wan disappears, and his robes fall to the floor. And where'd he go? What does that mean? Does that mean we're just light and vibration? Does that mean we're just frequency? Does that mean we're just like atoms that are in that are just waiting to explode? And go into some sort of portal, some sort of black hole, some sort of other state. And what does that state look like in the third dimension? It just probably looks like nothing. Probably looks like you disappear. Are we walking and swimming in a soup of radiation and light? Are we surrounded with multi-dimensional beings? What is the multiverse? And is this sort of a testing ground? Do we graduate? Are we tied to our bodies? Are we obligated to inhabit this dimension? Or are we just afraid of our true potential? It's an inkling that I have that we're so much more than we think we are. We're so much larger. My aunt has Alzheimer's, and my grandmother had Alzheimer's. And I remember visiting my grandmother in the hospital, and she was so light. She would dance, and she didn't really know who you were when you would visit her, but she was like a child. And who knows, maybe the tissues of her brain were like overwhelmed with aluminum or some kind of heavy metals. I don't know, maybe whatever caused her Alzheimer's. in a way, it was like, we're going to release your mind. We're not going to hold it here. The brain tissue can no longer hold that part of you. It's, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm confounded by this process of being contained here and then being released from here. It's a negotiation that you're having inside yourself. There's so many places on this earth that feel like potential nodes of, like, gateways. I get to experience this dimension, and I also get to sort of feel into other dimensions. Going to really unusual places in my meditation practice. I was tapping into light, color, power, energy in high school. I was doing these color meditations, and I would breathe in colors, and I would become this radiant light energy, and I could feel myself quaking in and out of my body. I was having outer body experiences, waking dream states, astral projecting, I guess you could say. And I was experimenting with psilocybin and LSD a lot in high school, and I used to kind of move out into other states, but it was unusual because it felt like a forbidden practice. It felt like there was a control apparatus that was keeping an eye on me. And it felt like when I crossed the gate that there were consequences. And now when I meditate and explore other realms of consciousness, I feel free, like way more untethered. And I'm wondering if the control grid is dissolving. I'm wondering if this is we're moving out of one epoch or one Earth chapter into another. The Mayan calendar ended, and so we started a new age. According to that calendar, we're in God, what are the ages called in the Mayan calendar? I think they're called there's such a specific word for it, I'm blanking. But the cycles are really, really long. They're like hundreds of thousands, like 250,000 years or something. And I feel like the Earth had enough of the old control mechanism, and in order to go rogue, it is rewiring itself. It's getting some sort of like universal messaging, and if you take off your shoes and socks and you kind of ground, the earth energy feels so nourishing right now. And when you meditate, I feel like the streams of information are essentially saying, open up, let go, go with the flow. And I think that it's so important as an artist to let go and go with the flow. The unconscious mind, the universal stream of source energy, light and information, the existence of pure love sort of needs to close the circuit between sort of heaven and earth. It sort of needs the human, like we're the circuit board, and a lot of this is just instinct. A lot of this is sort of like putting, some of the research together. And anyway, putting it out there, I really hope that we're in a time of healing, and that we're in a new kind of golden age of creativity and togetherness and love. And because I'm seeing, the severing of communities, I'm seeing relationships undergo kind of like the dark night of the soul. I'm seeing a lot of people close off and get siloed and censor each other and ourselves and live in that dark place of guilt and obligation. And I'm seeing people getting snagged in the nets, the old systems, whether it's cults or initiations or religions. I see people getting very fundamental with their views, and I just don't know if that's healthy and appropriate. Anyway, I'm just trying to sort of put some thoughts out. I don't know, food for thought, I guess.
The simulation is failing. I can't tell up from down. We're all just bodies hanging idly still till we hit the ground. And I don't know what I'm feeling, or I can't feel